If you decide to create your own fashion template, we can maybe start using a tracing method. So I'm just gently going to try and map out my whole figure, but in a more gestural drawing way. Just thinking about the direction of the arms, legs, relationship between the body parts, but really in a very, very loose and fluid way. So it's not that great, and I'm really not going for the shapes, and this would be my first take. So let's start, maybe do another figure and see how that works. I'm thinking about the shoulders, the bust line, the waistline, and I'm working with very, very long and fluid lines. Again, emphasis not on the shapes, but more gesture and direction. Arms come last, they don't really affect the pose. And let's do one more. The more of these you do, the better they will become. But it's very, very important not to reach for an eraser, and to just go with the flow and loosen up. I'll do one profile so we can see how that works. I'm not really thinking about garments at this stage. So instead of reaching for my eraser, I'm just going to trace my own drawing, and I'm going to keep what I like, and I'm going to try and change what didn't work out. So it's very important for us to relate the drawings to your reference. Maybe this trace can also serve as something that will give you a little bit more structure. Maybe we can reassess a few other bits and bobs. So let's see. What I'm trying to do in this trace, I'm trying to make it a little bit more complete. In this case, I'm going more for shapes. I'm working out the waistline, the bust line again. I'm working out the actual shape of the leg. And how all the body parts relate to each other. And you see, if I do something I don't like, I just change it. And as you go along, you can try and make all the drawings a little bit more complete. And now I can start thinking about the garments as well. And I'm moving things around slightly. You don't have to do that, but you can. And as you can see, my second trace looks a little bit better than my first one. So I can continue and do this, and every time I can add more detail or address a different issue. So maybe for the first trace, it can all be with the gesture and movement, angles, axis, in relation to the arm, where is the shoulder, what is the angle of the hip, and so on and so forth. Maybe your second trace can really work to address the proportions. So maybe we can say rules, if there are any. What we can do is this part of the leg should equal this part of the leg. Person's foot in a line-up formation like this should equal the size of person's head. Hand should equal the size of person's face. And everything else, I think it could be very arbitrary. And that would be a tracing method, something very, very easy for you to complete using magazines or lookbooks. Just be careful to make sure that you can actually see the body. So don't work with very voluminous garments in the beginning. Find something that you can actually see how the leg connects to the hip, to the waist, and so on and so forth.